Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Bob Mendelsohn, and this is the Bob's Your Uncle podcast. Today you're going to meet Michelle BEADLE, originally from New York City, then Tulane University, now Connecticut. Not only is she a journeyman that way, her story is compelling. Stay tuned. You can now find us and comment to us wherever you get your podcasts. Tell us what matters to you, what triggers your joy, what bothers you in the world. Let us know. We'll see where the Spirit leads us. Wherever you are just now, whether you're out for your evening constitutional, or you're here in Australia or back in the United States with friends, or all by yourself with your headset on, hey, wherever you are, thanks for joining us these 18 minutes. Of note, the opinions are strictly my own and those of my guests.
But I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
Two events mark the historical marker of the week. In 1961, the construction on the Berlin Wall, that's the wall that divided West Berlin from East Berlin. It started on this day, built by the German Democratic Republic of East Germany. And in 2024, it happens around this time of year once every while, this is Tisha B'av, the 9th day of the month of Av. It's the saddest day in the Jewish calendar, a day to mark the destruction of both temples, one in 586 BCE and one in 70 CE. And those are the historical markers of the week for 13th of August, 2024.
I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
It is a joy to welcome to the podcast Michelle. We've known each other, we don't want to say how long.
Yes.
But decades, isn't it?
Yes, it has been a long time.
And
yes.
where did we meet? Was that in Queens?
No, I think we met in California.
Michelle, you grew up, though, in
New York City, right.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
So what's a Jewish girl like you doing in a place like this? I mean, here we are in Florida at a conference with Messianic Jews, whatever that is, but you now live in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Are you running from the law?
Well, I lived in New York, and then I went to Louisiana, and now I'm back in Connecticut to be with my grandchildren.
But you went to Tulane, right? I mean,
I went to Tulane for
so
graduate
you went
school.
to university. Oh, it was grad school.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What'd you study?
Social work.
Did it work?
I got a master's degree in social work, and then I worked in that field for about 12 years.
So I feel better already just knowing you can deal with my social problems.
Oh, okay.
This is great. No, we've known it. Now, you grew up Jewish, and what did Jewish mean to you when you were a young girl?
Well, my parents and grandparents were Holocaust survivors. We attended a synagogue of all Holocaust survivors, so it was just who I was. I was Jewish.
But it's Jewish with a Holocaust flavor.
Yeah, I guess so, you could say.
When we say a Holocaust flavor of synagogue or Jewish life, I mean, there are kids today who are in school in Connecticut or in Kansas or in Australia who've heard about the Holocaust, but they have no immediate context of it. But you did.
Oh, yes.
What do you reckon is the difference between your experience with the mother, the grandmother, and the really present tense of Holocaust to a war that's, now just a movie for some kids?
Well, I mean, it was real, but my grandparents and my parents told us stories about what happened to them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. So I grew up in a synagogue of all Holocaust survivors.
That's unusual.
It was one of two synagogues that were started in Manhattan for Holocaust survivors, by Holocaust survivors. And it was a very strange synagogue. It was a Reformed Orthodox synagogue because all the liturgy was in Hebrew. The ideology was Reform. The men and women sat together, but
so like Orthodox.
Yeah,
and
like
they
Orthodox.
chanted, they recognized it, so they were used to it.
Right.
But kosher and Shabbos is a little much. So let's just be Reform. We'll be American.
Right, exactly.
American Jews.
Yeah.
That's a conflict, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, but it was just what I was used to.
So that's normal.
Yeah, that was normal,
And
yeah.
somebody else would say that's not normal. They're eating treif. There's davening, and then they go out for a ham and cheese sandwich with cheesecake afterwards.
It was only my father who ate treif, not my mother or us.
Somebody maintained it. Now, I remember when I was at your home in New Orleans that you had pictures of your grandmother and your mother and you, and I honestly couldn't tell the difference except by the age of the photo. And your daughter?
My daughter now looks just like me.
She's a clone.
Right.
So you're the clone family. But now we've been playing with your grandchildren here. You brought them to this conference.
Yeah, we go to this conference every year. I've been going here for years and years and years. And the kids come too, and they'll grow up with this, and they'll know about the UMJC.
So this is normal for them.
Right.
And somebody in the Jewish community or the Christian community or the Baha'i community will say, well, that's just not right. What you're doing is theologically inappropriate, but it's normal because you're raising them normal in this.
Right.
You got your university degree. You got your master's in Tulane, probably 30% Jewish there in that Master of Social Work class. How in the world did this Yeshua, Jesus, Jesus, whatever you all call him, how did that happen? What's a nice Jewish girl like you doing in a place like that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, it's God's Spirit that moves upon you, and I was searching for meaning in my life, and I didn't know why I was here, what I was created to do, and I started questioning, what am I doing here? And I need some answers.
How old were you?
I was 19.
Yeah.
In college.
That's a struggle time.
Yeah.
You're away from home, and so it's a time to question. Did you find answers straight away, or you found 100 answers for that instead of one?
I didn't find the answer right away. I was looking. I mean, since I was 15, I was trying to figure it out. But when I went to Cornell, I had a friend that I made there who became the best friend I ever had, and she exhibited the love of God to me, just amazing. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness. She exhibited all of those characteristics. And one day we were sitting in a luncheon together, and a stranger sat with us, and she was a visiting nurse, and she asked me whether I had Jesus in my life. And
That's a weird question for a Jew at Cornell.
Yeah. So, and I looked at her, and I looked at my friend, and I was about to start screaming and yelling at them. Don't tell me about all this nonsense. It's crazy. It's psychosomatic illnesses. Jesus never healed anybody. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me.
What?
and said, listen to her. She loves you. She's your best friend. And because my best friend had never said anything to me about what she believed. So she said that she told me that when she was 14, her aunt came to her and told her about Jesus. They were raised Hindu. They had multiple gods, and that he was the one true God, and she needed to embrace him. And she did, and now here she was halfway around the world telling me that I needed to embrace him too, and I did. I prayed a very simple prayer, inviting Jesus to be my Messiah.
Right then, at
Right
the
then,
cafeteria,
at
you're 19 years old. Your first thought is, "Gay avec famere," and then your second thought is, "Well, maybe I'll listen and maybe I'll believe." That is such a radical shift.
Yeah,
You were primed.
Yes, I mean, I was ready. And I prayed that prayer, and then I became enveloped in a cloud of peace. It was just
Wasn't that just nirvana? Wasn't that just? It was a drug, wasn't it?
It was amazing. It's just amazing.
So it is psychosomatic, isn't it? When you had this peace.
Yeah, psychosomatic, right?
So you just wanted to be at peace. It's nothing really happened to you.
Jesus is the Prince of Peace. He came to bring us peace between man and God.
But he died 2,000 years ago. I mean, that story's well documented.
Yeah, but he's still alive.
How'd that happen?
He's God.
He can do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So a miracle happened back then. This Yeshua rose from the dead, and some of his followers, 500 Jews, experience him after that crucifixion. Some eat with him, some touch him. They can't find his body because he's not in the tomb anymore. And now, 2,000 years later, a nice Jewish girl at Cornell University says, "Come into my life." And you're saying that because of that resurrection, that made itself true? And this good friend of yours from subcontinent Asia?
She was from Malaysia, actually.
Yeah, so she's now living this holy life in front of you. You're captivated by her character of life. You'd never seen anybody with love, joy, peace, and kindness?
I never had a friend who listened to me like she did. My maiden name is Listener, so I'm a good listener, but to have somebody listen to me, that was exceptional.
So here you are, you get born again to a living hope. Then what do? You call your mother and tell her right away?
Oh no, I couldn't. I wouldn't dare tell my parents or anything
it would
like
kill
that.
Them.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you kill him?
No, I didn't kill him.
So it didn't kill him.
It didn't kill him.
But that
no.
was the fear we have.
Yeah, well, that wasn't, not that they would die from me telling that, but I knew how upset they would be because I'm leaving Judaism in their eyes.
Did you ever tell anybody?
Oh yes, of course. I told my mother and my father and my brother and my cousins and the whole family knew that I was a believer. Yeah.
Didn't you, at that point, you're 19 years old then, didn't you think, okay, I've become a non-Jew? You went out and had a ham and cheese sandwich?
No, I never thought that.
You didn't think you'd converted?
No.
So you're still a Jew?
Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. There's so many Psalms and there's so many prophecies about the Messiah. He fulfills them.
Doesn't the Bible say you can't be a Jew and a Christian at the same time?
I don't think so. I think
But that's what people say. It must be true. It must be in the Bible.
Well, show me. Go read the Bible and show me where it is.
So it's not in there. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. That's right.
Wow. But the church has said, once you accept Jesus, come to the church potluck and have, potato salad with bacon grease. And so stop being a Jew. And don't go on Saturday and stop keeping kosher and just be a Christian. Don't they say that?
No, they did. I mean, that was never said to me. And it just so happened that I graduated from Cornell, and then I worked in Manhattan that following summer, and I met a Jewish woman who believed in Jesus.
There's now two of you.
Yeah, right. I thought I was the only one in the whole world, yeah.
Until you met her.
Yes.
And what did she do to help you along?
Well, she said Jesus' name in Hebrew, Yeshua.
What did that do?
It was amazing. It just made it all alive.
At the end, I asked Michelle if she were sitting with a Jewish woman and had a chance to share with her what she believed, what would she tell Mrs. Goldberg? No believers? So, wait a minute. I watched some TV show, she'll say, and I saw a Bible preacher say, if you accept Jesus, you'll have a good life and a nice life. Nothing will harm you, and you'll have all the money you need. You don't think that's true?
No, that's not true at all. No. Life is a struggle, and it's even a struggle with Yeshua in my life. But he's faithful, and he'll see you through, and and you have peace even when you're going through storms. Yes.
It's a joy. Michelle, thank you so much for being on the Bob's Your Uncle podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate it.
You're a joy. What do you think about all this? Why don't you write me, bobmendo@aol.com, or comment on an Instagram or TikTok to me. I'd love to know what you're thinking. Every week we read from the #1 bestseller of all time. That's the Bible. And of course, I've already spoken a bit about that today, but I thought I'd read this verse from the Newer Testament, from the book of Hebrews, chapter 4. Let us approach the throne of grace with boldness, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. A quick note about the Bob's Your Uncle podcast. That doesn't mean everyone I interview here on the podcast are necessarily Jewish or necessarily believers in Yeshua. This is a podcast of people talking to people. I want you to get to know people in all circumstances of life, in Turkey, in Portugal, in Argentina, wherever I travel. I want you to get to meet them. When I get back from Kansas City, I'll be back here in Nashville for a short time, then off to Atlanta, and then to Knoxville, Tennessee, before I get back home to Sydney. I want you to meet folks. I want you to get to know the folks. And I want you to appreciate this world in which we find ourselves. Until next week, then. When things seem bleak or uncertain, look up to God. He's in his heaven. And Bob's your uncle. Shalom.